All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a fascinating case study about the compounding cost of avoiding your financial reality. We're going to take a really close look at Fatima's story and see how what started as a simple administrative oversight basically snowballed into this massive, overwhelming psychological burden.
There's a line from our source material that really hits the nail on the head. Hiding a financial burden is often way heavier than the actual math itself. In Fatima's situation, the objective reality of her money was just completely swallowed up by the subjective weight of keeping it all a secret.
So, Part 1, the origin of the debt, systemic pressures. Let's see how this all started.
Picture this. Fatima is just 17 years old. She's sitting in a university financial aid office, and she is driven almost entirely by her hardworking mother's immense pride. At that moment, she was totally focused on fulfilling generational expectations, not, analyzing complex financial mechanics.
And the financial aid officer literally tells her this is standard. Everyone does this. They presented these loans as just a routine procedure, treating a massive student loan like it's a standard car payment. At 17, Fatima really only understood one thing. Signing that piece of paper made her mom proud.
$60,000. That is a staggering starting principle to agree to. But on that day, it was essentially invisible to her. That massive number was completely obscured by the immediate emotional high of getting accepted into university.
Fast forward 4 years, she enters the workforce as a social worker earning $34,000 a year. So right out of the gate, the math was fundamentally disproportionate. It basically trapped her in this quiet background financial system from day one.
Which brings us to Part 2, the burden of secrecy, passive avoidance. This is where the system just quietly breaks down in the background. Her servicer changed, letters went completely unread, and her autopay just stopped. 4 months of missed payments started stacking up into compounding penalties, and she just simply wasn't looking.
Now, this created a huge divide with her partner, Daniel. See, Daniel's background was super linear. He earned, he spent, he saved. Zero debt. Fatima perceived his lack of debt as this massive barrier. She was totally convinced her chaotic financial reality was just way too complicated to ever share with him.
It's kind of heartbreaking to look at this timeline. Over 37 days, an unopened letter from the new servicer just sat hidden in a drawer. Day 1, she places it face down. Day 28, she actually holds it for 11 minutes but can't open it. Avoidance had literally become a deeply ingrained habit.
Moving on to Part 3, the credit check climax, forced exposure.
So they find their dream apartment, right? Exposed brick, great counter space, the whole shebang. But to get it, they had to apply together. While Daniel is excitedly admiring the brickwork, Fatima is agonizing internally. Because by ticking that box for a joint credit check, all her hidden data was about to be dragged right into the light. The landlord actually called Daniel with the stark result. Fatima's credit score was 541. Standing there in a car park, Daniel suddenly had to recalibrate literally everything he thought he knew about their shared future.
But here is the absolutely crucial part. Daniel's reaction wasn't about the math. He told her, "I'm not angry about the money. I'm angry that you didn't trust me with it." The true damage wasn't the interest rate. It was the profound isolation that endangered the entire foundation of trust in their relationship.
That leads us to Part 4, confronting the envelope, direct observation.
Standing alone in her kitchen at midnight, she finally opened it. She discovered her original balance had grown to $63,400 plus penalties. But by actually reading the document, she finally stopped letting the fear of the unknown dictate her reality.
The very next morning, at 8:15 a.m., she showed her mother absolutely everything. And they cried, not over the debt itself, but over the sheer crushing isolation of Fatima carrying it alone for so long. The final wall of secrecy was, at last, completely gone.
Finally, Part 5, the financial restructuring, actionable steps. Fatima took really definitive procedural action here. She picked up the phone, called the servicer, asked the difficult questions, and established a new repayment plan. Then she opened up her finances completely to Daniel. By doing this, she unlocked administrative options she literally never knew existed. And look at this contrast from the source material. It's absolutely staggering. She had been drowning in guilt over an assumed $680 monthly payment when a $190 income-driven option was just sitting there, available the entire time. See, financial recovery isn't usually some sudden, magical revelation. It's about structured, repetitive observation. They built a shared digital spreadsheet together, meticulously tracking the total balance, the interest rate, and the exact principal reduction of every payment, so Daniel had full visibility. And just by facing the numbers directly instead of hiding from them, her credit score objectively improved 30 points to 571 in just 3 months. The massive debt was still there, sure, but the trajectory of her life had fundamentally and measurably shifted. The moment you directly observe a problem is the exact moment it stops controlling your life from the shadows. So, the author leaves us with this really powerful question. What financial reality or truth are you currently leaving unread in a drawer?
Next time on The Explainer, we're going to analyze James. He's 44, never missed a payment, did everything financially right, but just realized he has absolutely nothing saved for retirement. How exactly does perfect compliance equal zero? Until then, really ask yourself, what reality are you afraid to look at? Thanks for joining us today.